three-man rush. Now, so many Giants around. Pass intended for Jackie Smith. And now, look at Ken Parker go. And we've been expecting it all day. It was just here, and you knew it. And there it is, folks. It's like an ugly boil. It was bound to go, and it has gone.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But at least anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, all right, the balls, it's rolling. We got Joe Schoen came in yesterday. Now he's the first of the 9 GM candidates that they interviewed via Zoom or whatever it was, you know, to come in for a second interview. Now Ryan Poles from the Kansas City Chiefs is supposed to be coming in today. Now, you know, that's all I've heard so far. You know, is Shane and Poles. Now, I think, you know, I mean, hopefully it's just not the case. I mean, you know, with the Rooney Rule, you have to interview one minority. So Poles is, you know, I guess the one. I mean, hopefully it's just not, you know, they're just not, you know, you know, interviewing him because he's a minority. I mean, it looks like the guy's, you know, he's 36 years old, he's with the Chiefs, and, you know, sooner or later the guy's going to be a GM. So hopefully they're bringing him in because they're interviewing him for the job, you know. But as far as I haven't heard anything else about, like, maybe anybody else coming in after that. I mean, like Adam Peters from the 49ers, Monty Ossenfort from the Titans, Joe Ortiz from the Ravens. I'd like to see some of those guys maybe, you know, get a shot, but as of right now, there's just 2 guys. And I said, I mean, what I heard was that Joe Schoen knocked it out of the park. You know, I think it was last Wednesday. I think he was the first one to come in, and he did a phenomenal job. So don't be surprised if he's the one that winds up getting the job. Now, Joe Schoen's it's funny. His first job, he graduated from DePaul University, not DePaul, which is the one I'm very familiar, well, somewhat familiar with, especially basketball-wise. I mean, DePaul, I don't even know if they have football. I mean, but because DePaul is in Illinois, DePaul, ending with a W, is in Indiana. So he graduated from DePaul in 2001, I think, with a degree in communications. Now, he played football on their team. His freshman season, he was a quarterback. I don't know if he was the quarterback. He was one of the quarterbacks. His last 3 seasons, he was a wide receiver, and in the senior season, apparently he was a captain. So he graduated in 2001, and he realized that, you know, he wanted to get into football. However, you know, he realized apparently, like, once, you know, as his college career was going on, it's like, you know, I'm not getting drafted. I'm not gonna, you know, if I'm staying in football, it won't be from playing. It's gonna have to be, you know, executive or, you know, being on one of the teams, you know, in one of their departments and all that. So basically, his first job that he ever had, he was a ticket office intern with the Panthers in 2000. When I was reading it, he got a friend of a friend to get him into the ticket office, and he was an intern right for the Panthers. So that was his first job. That was back in 2000. So I mean, he's got a nice, good, solid, like 20. I mean, starting in 2001, all right, from 2001 to 2007, he worked under Brandon Beane all right, who when they were at the Panthers, all right. But Brandon Beane is now the GM of the Bills. So I mean, so starting in 2001, from 2001 to 2021, it's like 21 good solid years. So he's done a lot. All right, he's been with 3 different teams. He's been with the Panthers, he's been with the Dolphins, and he's been with the obviously the Bills. Yeah, so he's done quite a bit. He's been with 3 different teams. So he's seen a lot and everything. So he has a good, solid, track record. He was with from 2001 to 2007. He was with Carolina under Brandon Beane. 2008, Bill Parcells gives him a call. Bill Parcells, yeah. When Bill Parcells was the executive vice president of director of operations, I think it was, with Miami Dolphins. He was there for 3. I think he signed a 4-year contract, and he was there for 3 years, and he retired for the 17th time, I think it was. But in 2008, Bill Parcells and apparently Jeff Ireland too brought Shane to Miami as a national scout. So I mean, if Bill Parcells, calls you and asks you to come over, I mean, you got something going for you. That's pretty impressive. He was with the Dolphins. He was in charge of draft preparations, including evaluation and draft board construction. All right, so he was he evaluating talent and all and everything. So he said he's got a lot going for him. All right, so he was with the Dolphins from 2008 to 2016. 2017, Brandon Beane became the GM of the Bills. So Brandon Beane gave him a call and asked him if he wanted to be the assistant GM of the Buffalo Bills back in 2017. So that's why from 2017 to 2021 he spent the last 5 years in Buffalo. So now up to when he came in 2017, Brandon Beane and Joe Schoen and Sean McDermott, the Bills had not been in the playoffs since 1999. So basically, when they came to Buffalo in 2017, the Bills had not been to the playoffs in this century. All right, 17 straight seasons they had not been to the playoffs, but the Bills did it right. Right, they brought in Brandon Beane, the new GM. He brought in Joe Schoen, the assistant GM. They brought in Sean McDermott, the coach. Right, they did it right. They cleaned house, and they weren't necessarily horrible the few years before Brandon Beane and McDermott and Shane got there. I think they were like in 2014. I think they were like 9-7. 2015 and 2016. I think they were like 8-8. So they weren't like horrible. They weren't like the Giants, but they weren't like Super Bowl contenders either. They were just floundering around 500. And because the Patriots had Tom Brady, they were never going to win the division or anything like that, and they weren't even making the playoffs. So apparently, I guess they just wanted a clean house, and they all came in there. So, and they said they got Sean McDermott, which wound up being huge. It was huge, move for him. So between Beane, Shane, and McDermott, the Bills made it to the playoffs in their very first season. 2017, they were 9-7. I guess they realized they needed they wanted to change things up at quarterback. They weren't happy at the quarterback position. So they just happened to draft in 2018 Josh Allen. Now Josh Allen. I mean, coming out of college, I mean, hey, he had a lot of upside to him. There was the potential for a lot of upside. I mean, his numbers were not phenomenal in college. I mean, a lot of them were very comparative to, sorry to say it, Daniel Jones. I mean, the guy was huge. He had a cannon for an arm. Daniel Jones, not so much. But I mean, a lot of their numbers were very comparable. Daniel Jones, I believe, his passing completion percentage was better in his senior year than than Josh Allen. So I mean, they both got picked sixth. But I mean, you look. I mean, Josh Allen was Baker Mayfield got picked first. Sam Darnold got picked number 3. So I mean, he's had a couple quarterbacks taken in front of him. So I mean, there's no lock or no guarantee or anything that Josh Allen was going to become what he wound up becoming. It was a very good pick. But they worked around him. They built the team around him. All right, and 2018, Josh Allen's first rookie season. All right, they put him in. I think he was in there for 11 games. So 11 out of the 16 games, he was 5-6 as a rookie. They did some learning. They went through the learning curve. He had 10 touchdown passes. He had 12 interceptions. He completed 52% of his passes. So they took the hit. They had the quarterback. They put him in there. They're going to be hopefully going to be our quarterback for the next 10, 15 years, whatever. Put him in there. Let's take the hit. So they took the hit, and they were 6-10. All right. So they didn't make the playoffs. However, this that 2019 they were 10-6, made the playoffs. Josh Allen's second year, he got a little bit better. Then Josh Allen's third year, he went into another stratosphere. I mean, I think it was 37 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. I mean, he completed almost 70% of his passes. I mean, my God. I mean, a lot of people, Daniel Jones should make a, they were looking Daniel Jones to make some type of a Josh Allen, jump in his third year. But, I mean, Josh Allen, he took off his third year, and they won a division. They were 13-3, and this past year they were 11-6, and they won a division. I mean, some of it's also they won the division the past 2 years, maybe because some guy named Tom Brady's not there anymore. Just a possibility. But I mean, Josh Allen's past 2 years done phenomenal. They signed him to a huge deal. He was so Joe Schoen's got a well-rounded resume. All right, very, very well. I mean, he's worked in analytics, he's worked in the personnel department, he's worked in football operations, he's worked in communications. Bill Parcells spoke very highly of him. And basically that's the only kind of connection really that Joe Schoen has with the Giants is that Bill Parcells used to work, obviously, was with the Giants. And Joe Schoen worked with Bill Parcells. I mean, so that's the only, connections they got. So I'm probably pretty sure Mr. Mara picked the phone up and called Bill and asked him, if he remembered the time he spent working with him, because I mean, he worked with him for 3 years. So the last time Bill Parcells worked with him was in 2010. But I mean, I'm sure they picked the phone up and called him and talked to him and see, see how he was. There was a reason why they brought him into Miami. So he must be pretty sharp. His seems like his philosophy, from what I was reading, obviously is quite simple. It's kind of like build through the draft. They won the division the last 2 years, and even after they wound up signing Josh Allen, to his 6-year, $258 million contract. It's like a 6-year extension. He had his 4th year. Then they picked up. Next year is his 5th year. I think he's getting paid $16 million in his 5th year next year. Then 2023 is when it really shoots up. They pay him. They owe him about $40 million. But the thing is that with the $40 million, they only have about $70 million in cap space for 2023. So they got plenty of room to sign their draft picks and also to bring in some other guys. But the way it works out is when 2023, when they own $40 million, the salary cap's going to be like $225 or $230 million. So, he's going up from $16 million to $40 million, but I mean the salary cap's jumping up quite a bit, so it's not really, not really going to wind up hindering them too much. So I mean, so they got the quarterback. He's signed. They got him for the next 7 years. They got his 5th year option, and they signed for another 6 years. So they got him, obviously for another at least 7 years. I mean, if he keeps doing what he's doing, I'm sure they'll extend that somewhere along the line. But I mean, they got the quarterback. They got their team. You know, they're really, really doing good. So I mean, the with the Giants, you know, they got to move. They want to try to move quick. You know, as I said, they got Ryan Poles coming in. Joe Schoen is possibly talking with the Bears as well too. You know, so I mean, it's you know, move quickly, move quickly. I mean, if this winds up being your guy, as I said with Joe Schoen, what the Bills also wind up doing, okay, is he said he's building through the draft. Now the Bills on their roster, including the guys on their injury list and all that and everything, what I saw, they got 25 guys. They have some undrafted free agents on there. You know, every team does. But on the Bills roster, they got 25 guys on the roster that they've drafted, and they got 17 guys on the roster that are from other teams. So they're 25 and 17. I mean, I've seen this a lot with a lot of the playoff teams. Almost all the playoff teams have drafted more guys on the roster that they've drafted than they have from other teams. Now, unlike the Giants, all right, who, including injured reserve and all everything, they have 25 guys on their roster that they drafted. All right, there's 32 guys on their roster that they got from other teams. You know, so once again, a recipe for disaster. Yeah, you got to build through the draft, right? As the Bills are doing, build a good, get your quarterback, get your GM, get your coach, get everything all lined up, and then just start, you know, bringing in good quality players through the draft, and that's what the Bills are doing. And hopefully, maybe that's something maybe Joe Schoen could wind up, you know, doing. Like I said, but he's got some interest from the Bears, so the Giants got to kind of move quickly if he's their man. Now they said they got to talk to Ryan Poles today. Let's see, he would probably try to maybe Joe Schoen maybe try to get like Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, as the coach. Right, which would wind up being, you know, fantastic. I mean, because Daboll's helped the Bills. All right, this past season they scored 483 points, and that's in 17 games. Last year, in only 16 games, they scored 501 points. They scored over 31 points a game. You know, the Giants this year averaged 15.2 points per game. So the Giants, I mean, I understand the injuries. We got third, fourth, 19th string quarterbacks in there. I get it. Mike the Neck Glennon in there. I get it. But I mean, still, we averaged 15.2 points per game this year. Last year, the Bills averaged over double that. I mean, this year, even this year, the Bills averaged 28.4 points per game. So the Bills averaged almost 2 touchdowns more per game than the Giants did. So, I mean, you know, that's what, you know, they got the team. I mean, Trevon Diggs in there was huge. Great pickup for them. But, I mean, you got the coach, you got Josh Allen, you got the wide receivers. They were healthy. You know, they had some health. I mean, that's huge, too. I mean, let's be honest. If the Bills had to have a third and fourth string quarterback in there, chances are they're not going to the playoffs. But, you know, but they said the Bills are just doing it right? And I said if you can get Daboll in here, you know, with his offensive mind, hopefully he can work some magic with Daniel Jones and the Giants. See if the Giants are going to wind up keeping Daniel Jones, because this would be huge if they can bring those guys in, bring Daboll in, and if Daniel Jones can stay healthy for a year and Daboll can see what Daniel Jones can do, they make the decision what they're going to do with him. I mean, you know, is Daniel Jones in or is he out? That's huge. But I mean, the Giants got, I said, Ryan Poles in today. I'll keep an eye out. Hopefully they, see if they have anybody else coming in. But as of right now, Joe Schoen is the first guy in, and Joe Schoen seems like he might be the number one guy. As far as the GM. But hopefully, we'll find out. Hopefully by this weekend, Friday, maybe Saturday at the latest, who the next GM of the New York Football Giants will be. As always, guys, thank you so much for taking time any day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo!